Hello and welcome to Sophia's Project Journal. My name is Sophia and this is my project journal. On this YouTube channel, I go through a bit of what I'm working on at the moment, be it knitting, crocheting, sewing, or any other type of crafty projects. Creating things really makes me happy, so I will do a bit of everything depending on the season and my mood. Currently, I'm doing mostly knitting though. The holidays are approaching. It's like Christmas in 2 weeks' time. So if we have any knit gifts we want to get ready, now is the time to kind of get your needles and yarn out and cast on those last-minute projects. So in this video, I'm going through 9 projects that I found that are neutral, classic, timeless, and I think would work to gift for most people. And in my opinion, these are all gifts that I would like to receive myself, so I hope that other people would enjoy them too. All of these projects are really quick to knit up, and a bunch of the patterns I'm sharing today are also free. I myself am really into neutrals, and that's why this video is focusing on that specifically, so neutral gift knits. Next to me, I have put some pictures that kind of inspire me when it comes to neutrals, just so I can share with you what my vision is and what I think about when I speak about the neutral and classic timeless vibe that I'm going for. These are not knitting patterns specifically, just some inspiration to get us in the right mood. So the projects that I'm sharing today are in the order of how long I think they will take to knit. The first one is a super quick knit, and then the last project is something that will take a few days to knit up. So the first project I want to share with you is the pattern called Kärna by Carolina Eckerdal. This is a free pattern. It's a little star that you knit up. I think it's perfect for using your scrap yarns. The recommended gauge is 24 stitches per 10 centimeters, knit on 3.5 millimeter needles. But I think this is a project that you could knit on any gauge, just as long as the fabric is tight enough to hold the stuffing. Perfect for scrap yarns just because you can knit it in so many colors and then get different sizes. As a gift, I think this would be perfect to add as a decoration on top of a gift, kind of next to the gift card, or then add to a hostess gift if you're invited to someone over the holidays. I think it might look really cute around, for example, the neck of a wine bottle. You could also knit up a few of these to make either a garland or a set of Christmas tree decorations. I think that would be super cute. The second project I want to share with you is the Leafy Washcloth by Megan Goodacre. It is another free pattern, and it is a set of washcloths or dishcloths. They can be knit in any gauge, and I would go for a plant-based fiber with these, so be it like cotton, bamboo, or linen, I think would work great for these. If I were to gift these, I would knit a set of maybe 3 of them in a neutral color. If I'm gifting them as a washcloth, I would go for lighter colors. Whereas if I'm gifting them as a dishcloth, I would go for slightly darker like browns and beiges because those colors are less sensitive to stains. As a gift, I would combine them with either a nice soap or a nice organic all-purpose cleaner just to make kind of a nice gift set out of them. I think they would be perfect to either bring as a hostess gift, give to a family member or friend, or then add as a part of a bigger hamper if you're also gifting some food items. I think that would be great. The next pattern is the Waist Yarn Scrunchie by Filana. This is also a free pattern. Another one that's great for scrap yarns. For this one, I would use slightly lighter, fluffy yarns like a blown yarn or maybe a mohair or brushed alpaca. I think that would look really great here. These scrunchies are designed for any gauge, which makes them great for scrap busting, and I think anyone with longer hair would appreciate a nice handmade scrunchie. That's always just, in my opinion, it feels so much more luxurious than one of the store-bought ones, so I'm definitely a really big fan of this. In fact, I knit a lot of scrunchies myself. This is my latest one that I made. I tend to make them out of Drops Air because I like using Drops Air for knitting mittens, and I've come to realize that when I make a pair of mittens from a skein of Drops Air, there's just enough leftover yarn to make a nice scrunchy, so I have a bunch of these and I think they are so cute. The next item on my list is the Dahlia hair tie bow by Isabel Cecilia from my knitted closet. This is another free pattern, and this is a pattern that I'm really interested in making for myself. I think it looks so cool. So essentially it is a knitted hair ribbon, perhaps you could call it, that you would tie around a ponytail or a hairbun. It is knitted using lace waste yarn to give it that really nice, light and airy appearance. I really like the color that they have used here also. I think it just looks so good. This bow is knitted on 3.5mm needles with a gauge of 24 stitches per 10 centimeters. But I think that if you still used a lightweight but thicker yarn, it could work, but I would then size up my needles a lot just to keep the lightness of the bow. This bow is a really nice way to elevate a ponytail or a bow in my opinion, and I really love the color that they used in the sample here. I think it looks really delicate and feminine, but also quite effortless. If I were to knit one for myself, which I think I will if I have the time, I would probably, for the sake of the holidays, add a thin thread of silver or gold with the mohair that I'm holding, just to give it that extra little sparkle for the holidays. I think that would look so cool and festive. Another variation that I think would be possible to do on this is to make the middle part, the thinner part, a bit longer. So it could be actually tied around the head. Obviously that would use a lot more yarn, but then it would be kind of like a hairband going around the head and you would have the bow on top of your head. I think that might look nice also. So yeah, this pattern is definitely on my to knit list as soon as possible. The next pattern on my list is the Creme Brulee Cable Knit Hat by Ananitato Lola, also available as a free pattern with a video tutorial. It's knitted using a bulky yarn with a gauge of 14 stitches per 10 centimeters using 5.5mm needles. This is one of the patterns that I have actually knitted myself. I hit gauge perfectly with it. So using Drops Nepal yarn, a leftover yarn that I had in my stash, I knitted it and hit the perfect gauge of 14 stitches per 10 centimeters in stockinette. And I followed the pattern exactly. When holding it in the hand, as in the picture here, the cables look really nice and delicious, like have this fluffiness to them. But in my opinion, when putting it on the head, the cables got stretched out a bit too much and turned kind of flat, and it, like, the size of the beanie was great, but it looked really stretched out on the head, which I don't like at all. So I think I will knit this again in an off-white color for myself, and just add an extra repeat of the cable pattern, which is 15 stitches, and I think that will kind of maintain the nice and fluffiness of the cables on the head without getting too loose on the head, I hope. So that's something I'm going to try out. The leather tag that they've added on the rim of the beanie, I think that looks amazing and adds a really nice finishing touch. And it's something I think I should get better at with doing on my own knitted pieces because, yeah, it just looks amazing and adds that little extra niceness, finish look. This is a pattern that I knitted in a day. It was a Saturday, so I was able to knit throughout the day. But yeah, so in my opinion, a really quick pattern to knit up as well. The sixth pattern on my list is Trines Bouclevotter by Vivienne As. This is a paid pattern. It costs €6 and is available for download on Ravelry. These are felted boucle mittens. Before felting, the gauge is 16 stitches per 10 centimeters. So I think after felting, they will be a really kind of dense and thick material. I think these would be great if you live in a colder climate or if the person you're knitting these for tend to have cold hands. This would be perfect because these will for sure be really warm. Because these are knitted with boucle yarn and felted, the stitch definition isn't really there. So after felting, if you made any mistakes, it's not going to be visible, or if your knitting is uneven, that's just not going to be visible in the final product. These mittens come in 5 different sizes, which is really wide range for mittens, I think. So there's a few sizes for kids and then a few sizes for adults also. I've really been loving the look of boucle lately, and I think it's just like, it's so nice, fluffy, and looks a bit different from your normal knitwear because of the lack of stitch definition. The next pattern on my list are the Ultra Easy Slippers by Easy as Knits, cost €6 on Ravelry. So we have another boucle pattern, and these slippers, honestly, they look so comfy and cozy and nice, and yeah, I just love them. These slippers are knitted double folded, so essentially you knit the slipper as a kind of with this bunny ear shape, and then you take one side and fold it into the other side to make them double folded, and that adds a lot of stability and warmth to the slipper. The gauge in these slippers is 11 stitches per 10 centimeters, knitted on 8mm needles. The recommended yarns for these slippers is Drops Alpaca Boucle held together with Drops Nepal, and this combination makes for a really bulky yarn, so I think they will be really fast to knit up and also give a nice and thick fabric for slippers. Pattern number 8 is the Samoset Mitts by Kerry Robb, a $6 pattern on Ravelry. What caught my eye on these mittens is that they are knitted using one yarn, there's no cables, but they have this really nice and intricate pattern using only knit and purl stitches that really elevates the mitten in my opinion, and they look just fantastic. I love them. The gauge on these mittens are 22 stitches per 10 centimeters, knitted on 4.5mm needles. The gauge for these mittens are 22 stitches per 10 centimeters, knitted on 4.5mm needles. My own favorite mittens to knit are knitted with the same gauge, same needles, and I knit them up in around an evening and a half or 2 evenings. So I think that that's a good estimate for these mittens also. Like, they will be quick to knit up and you will have time to crank out a few pairs still before Christmas. The last pattern on my list is the Maya's Scarf by Claire Slade. It's a pattern that costs $6.50 on Ravelry. I know that we've been seeing the triangle scarves a lot lately, but I really love them. So I'm going to include one anyway. What I really love about this pattern is that it has more than just the plain garter stitch. It has a nice design to it. And what makes it extra special is that it looks good on both sides. A big pet peeve of mine is when a scarf or any other item that you're supposed to wear and use where both sides are visible, and they have a wrong side and a right side, and clearly you can see the difference between them. This one looks slightly different on both sides, but still I think that both sides can get away with being the right side, and it won't be too obvious that it's like looks better on one side than on the other. So I really love that about this pattern. If I were to knit this for myself, I would choose like a nice linen type of color rather than the blue one in this sample. But yeah, I think this scarf is just amazing, and I would love to make it for myself and as a gift knit for others also. Oh yeah, the gauge on this one is 18 stitches per 10 centimeters, knitted on 4.5mm needles. So that was my roundup of these neutral gift knits that I would love to knit for my friends and loved ones. I would love to hear what your favorite gift knits are, if you have any, and did you find any patterns in this roundup that you really liked? I hope you enjoyed this video, and I would love to see you soon again. Bye!